I know he's in the room somewhere, and he doesn't come so often, but every time he comes, I feel so touched. Like, I'm now going to create this very high expectations, and everybody was like, I didn't cry out of this story. This didn't touch me. Well, it touched me. Let's see. Huh? Did you say something?
I didn't.
No. Okay. All right. Well, that was my speech, which I now ruined. So let's bring to the stage Steven.
Give it up for Irina. Isn't she doing amazing tonight? I love what she's doing, like, as a host, bringing commonality, finding commonality. You see, we find it over water nets, we find it over dentistry. But these are kind of like niche things, and I was thinking back there, what is a universal commonality that across cultures, languages, borders, that we could all say, yes, that's happened to us? Any ideas? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
COVID.
COVID? Okay. Yeah.
Trump.
What's that?
I said Trump.
Brushing your teeth, hopefully, yes. Hopefully. I know, maybe there's some cultures that don't. Breathing? Breathing, okay, yes. Yeah, hopefully. Let's all do that together. Everybody take a big breath in. Hold it, and release. Breathing, that's a really good one. When I was in the back, I was thinking of one. I mean, it's pretty basic, but it's pretty safe as well. Everyone here has been born. Yes? Right? It's a commonality we all have. And so if you're really like timid or bad at making friends and you're like trying to find like what's the missing link, just try that today, you know? Like, yo, so you've also been born? 9 months? 9 months. Oh, preemie. Okay, that's cool. All right. But it's been said that we are all born looking for somebody, looking for us. And from the moment you come out, hands grasping, eyes closed, making sounds, wiggles, you're looking for that safe protection, for eyes who find you and say, I'm happy to be with you. And I'm sure if we were to go one by one, we would have so many different experiences. Maybe you grew up with a surplus of that kind of love, or maybe not. But we've all been searching for it. Maybe that's why you're here in Amsterdam. I'm sure there are different reasons as well, right? We got jobs, we got schools, lovers. We decide to leave our family and come here for whatever reason. But I think behind it all, right, fundamentally at least, there's this search going on in us. It's like this inner El Dorado, this kind of holy grail pursuit to find that face that says, I'm happy to be with you. And if I look back on my life, there are definitely attempts for that. Some have gone better than others. I think another commonality we all have is attempts at relationships, I think. That's where you see this come out quite explicitly, quite up front, right? You're looking for someone, like, I love the hand gesture is just perfectly illustrated, right? The fight not to be alone, my goodness. And I was dating this one Swiss girl, beautiful, beautiful girl. And we went on our first date, and it was going great. Like, we went to a nice restaurant, she looked great, I also looked great, we were eating good food. And then we were, talking, as we usually do, and I was like, okay, what do I bring up? And something I do is I'm a writer. It sounds so cliche saying it now, but I was like, let me share one of my stories with her. So like, we went out of the restaurant, we found a bench, and I was really proud of this story because I worked a long time on it. And I just had an electronic version on my phone, so I just started reading it because I thought this was a good idea. And all of a sudden, I just feel this head on my shoulder, just like this. And I'm like, oh, this is like, she's resonating so much with the story. Like, she's like really engaged. Maybe she's crying. And I look over, and homegirl's asleep. Like, looking for that face, looking at you. It was not happening. Like, your eyes need to be open for that. And needless to say, we didn't connect very well. And I've moved on. Don't usually bring out my writings on the first date. I look back on my teenage years. I also see different attempts as well. You know, you try to fit in with different friend groups. If you couldn't tell already, I'm from the States. I grew up in Texas and went to high school there. And whenever I say that, people are like, oh, did you ride the yellow buses? I'm like, yeah, we wrote that. They're like, yeah, in the movies. I'm like, they're really not that great. Like, it's really hot and uncomfortable. But when I went to high school, I didn't like really have any style, like any fashion. And so my cousin was like, little cuz, I got you. I'm going to give you all of my clothes. I was like, sweet, thanks, Nick. Okay, something you need to know about Nick is he's a gangster. And about like half a meter taller than me. And gangsters already wear like baggy clothes. So when he gave it to me, I was like, this kind of like nightgown like vibe. But I thought it was cool. It was like Echo, Sean John. Like I had this like big silver cross. Like, man, it was a vibe. And the school, I can't think of a better word right now, but maybe it was just segregated. Like just naturally, the black people hung out over there. The Mexicans from California hang out over there. The white people in band hung out over there. And so I come in, like this little Mexican dude, like in a long tee down to my knees, and I'm like, right? Looking for a face that's happy to look at me. Band, no, the Mexicans kind of scary. Black people, black. And then all the black people, they hung out at this place. It was actually called the Black Wall. Not because they're black, because the wall was black. That's what the principal said, at least. So I went there and I posted up, man. I was like, yeah. And they were just looking at me and they're like, okay, homie, we see you, hermano, we see you. And so I was just chilling there for a while, and the principal like singled me out. One day he came up to me, he's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know. I got freaked out. And I eventually gave those clothes back to my cousin. Put on tighter Hollister clothes, hung out with the Mexicans again. Kind of fit in, it was cool. But then my style changed, and then that group did too. And you know, so you're looking for that place where you belong. And there are times when I stopped trying, right? When you stop trying to force it. And it's like, you know, when you meet that person and you can't remember their name and you're trying like really hard, you're like, oh yeah, I remember you from that party, Mike, you know. But then as soon as you relax, like, oh, okay, Saundra. Is Saundra your name? Dang it. Okay. And it's just one of those things. I find acceptance in the beautiful face that's looking at you often comes when I'm not trying. Just sort of this paradox, but it's beautiful in a way. It's this mystery. It's like it's beyond me, outside of my control. And I respect that. There was this one time I was in France. This was several years ago. I don't know if y'all know of the Jungle. It was the nickname that was given to this refugee camp in Calais. And some of my friends, we went there to go do some work, and it was a mess. It was chaotic. It was horrible. The French police, they were tearing down the settlements in quite a brutal manner. They were going, and I don't know if you saw headlines, but they had like plastic bags over their boots to not get them muddy. They were tearing things down. We had gone to help build shelters and organize, but they were doing the opposite. And so they were there with their battering rams, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. And all of a sudden, I see this Afghan man, and he looks at me and my friends and goes, come. And we're like, okay. And we just go, and there's like a whole host of like photographers, like press, and then the police and the refugees fighting. And we go into this tent, and it's just peaceful. And it's almost quiet in there. And these beautiful tapestries are hung along the sides. And the man, he's speaking, I'm guessing it was Farsi or something, but I couldn't understand, but he was speaking like he knows me. And I was just like nodding, and he pours us, me and my friends, 3 cups of tea. And that was the best tea I think I've had in a while. And he stopped talking, and he just smiled. And he closed his eyes, and he drank, and we drank. And he looked at us, and we weren't speaking. We could hear the shouting outside. And then we heard this big explosion. He says, okay, time to go. And he rushed us out. And fires had broken out in the camps. And we had to leave. And I thought, how did he find me? Who is this man? What is his story? What engine does he have inside of him to be able to give such a smile in such a circumstance when I face far less trivial matters and have moped around this city? You know, we all do it. We pretend like we're really important on the bike, like going really fast. I want you to do a favor for me. Okay, everybody kind of squint and look up. Okay, and do a downward smile. Turn and look to your neighbor and say, that's how you look when you bike. Okay? You're not as important. And I let things really rob me of my smile. And I think back in that Afghani man, and I think, wow, it found me. Also think back to November. I went to the States to celebrate my mother's 70th birthday, and it was a joyous occasion to see my mom. I was in charge of putting the slideshow together. My sister gave me that little task. So I went through the photos, and I was assembling, and I started with baby photos of my mother. And I went through her whole life, and I found photos I had never seen before. Never seen before. And I realized I was going through this, not just my mom, right? You ever had that realization where you're like, oh, they're not just my parents, they actually have had lives before. Like they were people before me. And I was looking at this whole life developing. And eventually there came this like really chubby, like cute Mexican baby, being cared for. And I had never seen those particular photos before. And I thought, I never knew that happened. Wait, so are you telling me there are moments in care and love that I've received that I have no recollection of? And I wonder, with you, how much of that love, that nurture, that care has actually gone unnoticed. And in my life too, because I'm rushing on to the next meeting and biking past that red light. I know I should really stop at to give the pedestrians right away. But I've got to get there, man, and I don't have time to look at your smile, and that pains me. James K. Smith, he wrote this beautiful book called How to Inhabit Time, and in there he talks about God being secretive and tending to us in the hiddenness. And I just want to encourage you, I know it can get lonely here in the city sometimes, but I truly believe there's always a face smiling and looking at us if we slow down. Maybe that's in the friends that you've come to view as too familiar, or even the lover sometimes. Familiarity sometimes breeds contempt, which is a shame. Maybe it's your family, because we look at the adventure out there, or at least I know I do, and sometimes I forget the ordinary, beautiful. And so I invite you this weekend. I don't know what you're doing. Slow down, rest, look at the people around you, maybe even the person you came here with tonight. Like Rulin did with his mother, say, take time, say, I love you. This is going on in me. And yeah, if you're ever lonely in the city, me and my friends love having dinner parties. We'd love to slow down, try to reflect that Afghani man's gaze as much as I can. And maybe you could do it to me and to us. And I think that's what Mezrab's about. That's what this city could be about, this safe place for us. So thanks for listening.
And with that intention, we're going to go into our second break.